Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Eva J's Mystical Messages, and I think for the first time in like a really long time, I am sort of at a loss as to what to do and how to move forward. I started this meditation once, and I ended up with pulling a card that I thought was very interesting and very fascinating, and I did a long spiel about it, and then for some reason it just felt awkward when I started reading the meditation, and then I stopped it, and then I started again, and I pulled another card that I just completely befuddled and bewildered me, and that didn't work out either. And I got into the meditation, and then I had issues with the reading. There was a word in here that I couldn't even make out, and um, uh, I don't know. I don't even know what this word is. I have to say that this is so you see what I do. Sometimes I just have to do that sometimes to maintain here. But I started this, and then I stopped it, and then I went back, and everything feels so wonky today. I don't know if you're experiencing this or if you're sensing this, but this is what is going on. This is what is happening in the world. We are dealing with such an accelerated time that we are quickly feeling like the wheels are falling out from under us. And I am feeling this like in real time. So this is what's happened today with this meditation. I am feeling like the wheels are falling out from under me in real time. I can't get the cards to feel like the cards are lining up. I'm going to try and pull one card and see if I can get something that makes sense, because right now nothing seems to make sense. And I think you're feeling it too, and I think that everybody is kind of in the same place. So here we go. I'm going to pull a card. I'm going to shuffle these a couple of times, and then I'm going to pull a card and see if I can get something that actually feels like the world isn't like falling apart around me. Because it is what it is. Okay, so one more shuffle. Nigel, this card? Okay, this card fell out, so we'll see. This makes more sense. The card is New Directions. I'm not going to turn the camera around because it's too much of a pain. New Directions. The world is going in a new direction. That is clear. That makes sense. This makes sense. This makes more sense than any of the other cards I've pulled. This makes more sense than anything that I could have done. This is the center that we are in. We are going in a new direction. We are heading in a new direction, uncharted territories, whatever you want to call it. That is where we are. And that is where the world is going. And that is what I think the universe is trying to tell me. Third time's a charm. But here we go. We're on day number 7 of Into the Meadow. And it doesn't really feel like I'm in the meadow. It feels like I'm standing at the side again, trying to look in and trying to see what there is to see. So, this is where we are. And it's March 19th, 2025. And we're on day number 7. And I'm saying I'm trying to keep this spiritually centered. But there is an elephant in the room. And I think that in order to move forward into the meadow mentally, we have to look at what's going on externally. Please tell me that there is hope. Ramón says, there is always hope, chérie. You must not request it. The hope is there. And I said, sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Psychics and others are saying, forewarned is forearmed. I'm at a loss. How can we stay in the light when there is so much darkness around us? And Ramón says, remember, the darkness can only exist if light is not present. You cannot shine light where it is consumed with darkness. When people do this, what people need to understand that things like democracy are fragile. Most things are fragile when they are taken for granted. When you stand firmly behind an ideal or a notion, then it becomes the foundation that makes it stronger. Spiritually, we are all capable of doing this. It is not about belief in this as a notion that enables it to stay stable. It is about the support beams that hold it up. Consider this idea. Spiritually and democracy are rather like a house. The dark forces are the storm. When you have a firm foundation, then your house can withstand the storm. That means once the house must change and grow to meet the moment. When you have a flimsy foundation or the structure feels threatened by the blowing wind, then the house could collapse. The house must be built on a firm foundation to withstand the wind. The other thing that it needs or requires is a support system that will keep it stationary. In the context of the changing world, this is a foundation of legislatures and that actually have teeth to it. The people in that body must be willing to speak for the masses, otherwise they are useless. The society needs to know that people who have been voted into power will represent their interests, otherwise they will be deemed worthless. So, in the context of the house, you must have a stable and workable support system, that is, the beams of wood that help maintain the frame of the house. You require more than one beam to attain this. In the context of the U.S. and what is happening there, you require a judiciary that will do a proper check and balance on an abusive executive. When you do not have these support beams to offer that, then the house will inevitably collapse. This is not a question of if, but a question of when. The entire system is on the verge of collapse because one of the support beams, the legislature, is not pulling its weight. I said, what can people do? A legislature's job is to act on behalf of the people. Where do the people stand in relation to the house analogy? And Ramón says, the people are the ones who must live in that house. They make the necessary repairs to that house. That is where the hope lies. Spiritually, what the people can do is keep shining their light. They must illuminate the house as well as the houses of their neighbors, while at the same time deciding if this house, as it is, should be torn asunder and started again. The people now stand at the threshold of deciding if they want to continue living in a house with shoddy construction, which is encapsulated by the bribes and lawlessness of the government, or start something new. It is part of the cycle of change that the world is currently living with. The people sometimes say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The reality is, people need to realize that change does not mean taking a Band-Aid and trying to cover a large abscess with it, all the while thinking that that is enough. I said, I get what you're saying. When I was at the university, my mother called me and said that she was, quote, renovating, unquote, the house, which basically meant that she was painting the walls. In one of the bathrooms, there was mold growing, and it had reached a dangerous level where broken tiles and plastic bags covering the holes. When I think of renovation, I think about fixing the obvious. Ramón says, yes. And right now, that is mold growing through the entire system. Some of those in the judiciary are trying to fix the problems, but instead of fixing the issues, they are partaking in your mother's reference of renovating. They are too little, too late. What I see happening is there must be a fundamental shift. First, the people need to recognize that they are the ones who are giving power to this form of governance. This means that in order to heal from the wounds of an abuser, one must disengage with the abuser. I said, it sounds like you're describing anarchy. Ramón says, no, I'm describing a society that requires acceptance of their power. They are standing by determining their purchasing power. When enough people decide that they are not interested in supporting companies that try to hold up the system of lawlessness, they are showing it by demonstrating their power. Keep in mind that it is not just an issue of refusing to shop at certain places, but recognizing that one does not necessarily require the items in question. How many decks of cards do you need to sustain a channel? Do you need a wish list on a platform that supports that form of governing? Do you need to shop for produce at a chain store, or can you access the farmer's market? The reality is people have more power than they think. The problem lies in their unwillingness to stop shopping for things they do not need. The act of becoming more community-centric is important. Do you know why cults and sects appeal to people? And I said, why? And Ramón says, these groups of people provided a safe haven for their people. Every sect leader created this sense of community. They acted on people's inherent need of community that they themselves created. By doing this, they were able to draw in the lonely and isolated. The man in the White House is doing the exact same thing, but on a far grander scale. Find the people who are lonesome, isolated within society. Bring them into a sort of fold. Show them in a finite way that these outside their community are of the darkness or are evil. What do you see happening? I said, I see a sort of buildup. There is this sort of bubbling over. People are growing more and more desperate and despondent. And Ramón says, yes, but what do you see within this sort of cult of personality? I said, I see them becoming even more radicalized. People are literally tripping over themselves to defend their ideology. And Ramón says, yes, so what will be the tipping point? I said, I have no idea. I thought the economic downturn would do it. But they seem to be waiting for a sort of rapture. Ramón says, which does not exist. Remember what we said about the negative energy only getting a negative boomerang effect? Well, that is what is happening. The people do not want to admit that they are doing this to themselves. They are the frog in the pot of boiling water, believing that they are sitting in a sauna. I said, is there hope for them? I said, I'm hearing stories, and these people who transitioned and only realizing what they had done after the fact. Ramón, is there a chance that they will understand the results of their actions before transitioning? Ramón says, without the help that they desperately need, no. I will not sugarcoat it. There are people in the U.S. society who are fully believe that one man who is a convicted felon is the second coming. And I said, it is sad. So what can we do? Ramón says, what you can do is what you've already been doing. Prepare for the well-being of yourself and others. Disengage from the news media. Choose logically where you spend your money. Purchase things locally and do what you can to sustain your livelihood. Be prepared to have people from your friendship circle spontaneously come to stay with you. Do not turn your friends away if they need you. I see a lot of people coming to Europe and Canada simply to get away from the tyranny. I see many tears being shed for the loss of a national identity. What has once sustained the people and given a sense of pride will be torn apart through an acknowledgement of an unsustainable situation. The people of America need to realize that their country will never be what it once was. The notion of the shining city in the hill is an illusion. The American dream has quickly turned into a nightmare, and the desperation is setting them up for an idea that is akin to the French Revolution. It will be a challenging time, and it will be hard for all parties involved. The rest of the world is isolating themselves from it and recognizing that individually they are far stronger than what they believed before. I said someone said it was like a rebirthing, but they emphasized that the birthing process is painful. And Ramón said, they are exactly right. I said, I guess the overall feel of this is not what the Founding Fathers envisioned. I wonder what they must be thinking about a country that they envisioned as being turned into a quasi-monarchy. Ramón says, the Founding Fathers are, in a word, heartbroken, perhaps far too heartbroken to even speak of this. They believed when they drafted the Constitution that it would withstand the test of time, but perhaps they did not anticipate where it would go. I said, I am almost afraid to ask them what they are thinking, because what I feel energetically is weighed down, like having a large concrete slab on top of me. It is all-encompassing. Ramón says, yes, it is. But as I said, in order to continue, you must first release this and allow yourself to heal from it. I said, I no longer feel pride in being from America. In fact, when I go out, I only speak German. Most of the people can tell by my accent that I'm not from here, but anymore I don't much care. Most of my friends and family here know what my values are, and they understand why I feel the way I do about it. Ramón says, you cannot change what you are. You are not defined by which patch of earth you were born on. What you can do is determine your future by living the values that you hold dear. Remember, he said, you are one of the helpers. I said, am I? And suddenly Fred Rogers comes in and says, oh, yes, you are, Yvette. Do you honestly think that you were alone with Ramón here? You are not alone. You are needed. You are indeed a helper. Never lose track of that. As you come through these times, you will see it, and as each day passes you by. And I said, I'll try. Thank you both so much. And they both said, you're welcome. So I said at the beginning that nobody came in, but I had completely forgotten that at the end, Mr. Rogers did come in and try to offer a little bit of support through the meditation. Again, Ramón is the logic-based guide. He speaks in logic, and it is a good and comforting feeling to know that he is there and that he is offering this. I don't know what else to say as far as what happened today with the meditation. I do know that I tried twice to do the meditation, and then I stopped, and then I started, and then I stopped again and started again. And I finally made it through the reading of the meditation. But it is so difficult sometimes to actually get my thoughts straight and to actually feel the positive energy that my guides are giving me. And sometimes I just want to throw my head back and scream, because it's like, what are we doing? Where are we going? Why is this happening? And I can't really say with any certainty why this is happening. It just is what it is. And it's very difficult sometimes. And I know that because, you saw it. You saw me reacting to it. You saw me with the cards. You saw me reading the meditation. You saw this in real time, that I felt like I was going crazy. So you're not alone. We are all in this together. We are dealing with this in this perhaps the same way or in a similar fashion. But we will get through this. Somehow something is about to break. I feel it. I sense it. It's like, it's just deep in my core. I feel like something is about to give. Something is about to happen. We are, maybe as the other intuitives have said, we are in the birthing process. And once we come through that, we will feel some sense of joy, as opposed to this despondency that we're now kind of in the middle of. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for leaving comments and for liking the video, even when it's difficult, like today's video has been proven to be difficult. I wish you a wonderful day. I hope that things will get better for all of us. And until they do, just know that you're not alone. We're all in this together, and we will get through it. Thank you. And as always, namaste.